I'm, among many other things, a machinist, and I work with a CNC milling machine, which think a drill press combined with an Etch-a-Sketch. The table moves around and it cuts 3D shapes using a computer. It's really cool. I dreamt that I had to make an escutcheon, like a little decorative shield, probably the size of like an iPhone. And I made it in two parts. So I made like the rough form of it out of steel, and I cut that on the mill, and then I set it aside, and then I went to go get a 3D scan of an object from the bottom of the ocean, which was going to be the completion of it. I already had the physical part, and I needed like the fine detail in some sort of virtual scan. So I went to the bottom of the ocean that is near my grandmother's house, but it was much deeper in this dream. And down there, I found the discarded bottle of some fad protein shake drink that my sister had just started the previous day. And I know that these trends don't tend to last very long. So I was like, yep, that makes sense. It is reasonable that I would immediately see this at the bottom of the ocean, discard it. And I found the object and I scanned it and I brought it back. And I was, in this fantastical way, combining the physical part with the virtual part. And they were going to be combined together and make one finished object. And so I looked away to look at something else. And when I looked back, the virtual part had eaten the physical part and had grown fatter and completely got rid of it. And I was like, well, that's a problem. And then I woke up.
Wow. So just to understand, the physical part was what you made on the mill.
Yeah, it was a little steel. It was the rough shape of the shield, but it wasn't finished being cut with all the details yet. And the virtual part, I suppose, was those details that needed to be cut. And I got it from scanning some object at the bottom of the sea.
Do you know what the object at the bottom of the sea was?
No, I mean, logic would tell that it was a version of this shield if I got all the details from it. But all I remember is some... Well, sound for a second. All I remember is some, muddy object, and then my scanner, I knew, could permeate the mud and see the details that I couldn't see with my eyes. I still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, there we go. You're having some sound troubles tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is, but okay. So you had the virtual part, which was the outline of the shield. You had the piece from the bottom of the ocean. And while you were looking for the piece from the bottom of the ocean is when you found this like discarded energy drink container that your sister had been obviously consuming. That wasn't what you were looking for, though.
No, I just saw it, and it just seemed perfectly emblematic of the whole world of trend health stuff of like, yep, I can believe that you bought this last week and now I find it at the bottom of the ocean. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Wow. That's really interesting. So the dream is about revelation. It's about bringing revelation back from a place that is really difficult, if not impossible, to go to. Like you can't just go to the bottom of the ocean, and so what I heard when you said bottom of the ocean is I heard the heart of the ocean, which of course is the jewel in the movie Titanic that the lady throws into the ocean because of so many reasons, but a lot of it was because of the value and because of, what it caused in the hearts of men as far as greed and lust and wanting to steal it and get to it. But what's interesting is what I'm hearing is the bottom of the ocean is your dream world. So it's the place that is really, really difficult to access. Bringing things back sometimes can be problematic. There's literally that veil, and it's the dream world, the waking world. That's what's represented by the water. The water represents death, like in baptism, or sleep, or some level of literally subconsciousness, like going under the water, like entering into the deep sleep. Like when you go into surgery, they tell you think of falling backwards into a swimming pool and count backwards from 10. And, so it's that whole thing. That's what the ocean represents. But the ocean also represents the vastness of the spirit of revelation, of literal, like the spirit of wisdom, which knows everything in all of the universe and all of creation for all time. And what you want to do is you want to fish out this piece that you need and you're not even sure what form it takes, but you know that it's there, it's at the bottom of the ocean, it's a particular thing. You're not just grabbing whatever at the bottom of the ocean. You're looking for a particular piece that completes the design of this shield that you have, that you're creating. And it's also interesting that shield, of course, in Ephesians 6 represents the shield of faith. So you already have the shield. You have crafted in the mill, in the shop, right? You've crafted the shield, which means that you've developed your faith to the point that you can go seek and get the revelation that you found. You can bring it back, and then you can recreate it into, a milling form to be joined with or welded onto or whatever, attached to this shield to be able to complete whatever the design is that your desire is to complete. So it's also interesting that in the midst of that, on your way apparently down to the bottom of the ocean, you find this.
Oh, lost sound again. It's strange. It doesn't say you're muted when you first lose sound, but muting and unmuting fixes it.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm wondering if I should try my hotspot here. So you're going down and you're finding, you find your sister's discard. It's like a can, or like
it's one of those shake mixer bottles. So it's like a drink bottle, but it's got a little plastic thing in there. So you put in your protein powder and thing, and then you shake it up in there, and then you keep it in there and drink it.
Right. And you mentioned energy drink.
Yeah, it's like it's a protein energy fad.
Right.
It's called Huel, which is an abbreviation of human fuel.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's significant. A lot of people talk about a lot of times in dreams, people will see something like coffee, or they'll go into a coffee shop. And that's the idea of the energy drink, though this sounds like it's a little bit more of a pure form of just, sugar and caffeine and everything else. But it represents the idea, we drink coffee in the morning. It helps us come alive and awake. It's the idea of waking up to something. It's the idea of a revelation. You see a revelation that your sister has. You're looking for something deeper. So this represents the idea of being part of a collective of people that are seeking revelation. She's actually discarded this revelation into the ocean, and you're finding, but the idea that she's drinking something that's supposed to help boost her energy is the idea of her wanting to wake up to a revelation and to know something deeper. Okay. So what God is saying is there's literally something in your dream world. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. There's literally something in your dream world that is going to combine with your waking life that is going to allow you to create something that's going to be, it's going to be incredible. I feel like since your sister's mentioned in the dream, and I think of a shield, I feel like it has to do with like a coat of arms. I feel like
that's kind of what an escutcheon usually is. Like, it has the form of a shield, but it's usually a heraldic like design for one city or one nation or one family or something. It has sort of a shield with a coat of arms on it. And the feeling I had about it was not that I was making a new thing, because obviously there was some old, worn out version in the depth of the sea that I had to go retrieve the fine details of and learn the particulars of it. It felt like I was remaking something new for some occasion of whatever this thing was coming back again. And it was, well, we'll need a new this. It would be like if they had, rebuilt the temple a third time. It'll be like, well, we need new bowls, we need new lampstands. I felt like I was making a new object to restore some older, larger thing.
Yeah, it's like restoring something related to your family, something related to the heritage of your family, but it's not like bringing it.
Oh, lost sound again. It seems like you get about 3 minutes. It seems like the same amount of time every time.
Yeah. Wow. So that's a really cool dream. I would be looking for what that object is. I don't know if you have even sometimes even an impression or a feeling as to what the object is. because I think the structure of the either that or it's veiled or hidden. If it's like covered in mud, then it's hidden, like it's something that needs to be discovered, and that's what you have literally the technology for, which could be the idea of learning how to interpret dreams. Is you bring something up that seems muddy, it's worn, you don't know what it is, you have to 3D scan it, so then you can use your milling machine to be able to recreate it.
And I think that makes sense because the part of the ocean that I went to is right
Mhm.
outside my grandmother's house, and I know it very well. It's a very shallow part of the ocean. When the sea is out, you can walk like half a mile out to the shore. But in this
Wow.
dream, it was suddenly so much deeper than you expected. Like you're like, oh, this is going to be knee deep. No, it was like 20, 30, 40 yards deep at this section.
Wow. Where is that? What part of the world is that?
So this on the shore of Australia. It's in Victoria Point,
Oh,
specifically
wow.
Wilson's Esplanade. Although only one person in the chat will know who that is, and that's because it's my mother. So
Oh, that's amazing. That's incredible. Wow, I love this dream. So this is also, I also believe this is a crossover dream, which means there's literally an assignment, and I believe there's an assignment for you to not only recover, but to make something. And
mhm.
since you're creative and you see, there's something that God wants to restore that has to do with the heritage of your family and from generations past that's been muddy, it's been lost. It also reminds me of that scene in Lord of the Rings when they lose the ring and then the guy stumbles into
Mhm.
the river.
Oh, lost your sound again. Yeah, it seems like about 3 minutes.
When he comes up with a handful of mud and the ring's in the center of it. I feel like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Great dream. Thank you for sharing, Josh. I love that.
Thank you for interpreting, and I appreciate it.